Hi, learning about something or learning to do something. Learning about driving or learning to drive. Learning about dancing or learning to dance. Learning about speaking a new language or learning to speak a new language. Normally, if you want to learn how to speak a new language, especially everybody wants to learn how to speak in English. If you want to learn how to speak in English, the traditional and old way and method that we are following is that we first learn about the language. When you study in school, they teach you about English. In college, they teach you about English. And if you learn about English, you find out that okay, I know about English. I've learned all the grammar rules and how a sentence is made and all these things. But I still cannot speak in English. If I try to speak in English, it doesn't sound natural, normal. It sounds different from the way people who speak naturally. So there's a big question about it, that why does this happen? I think that the problem is that you have learned about English. For example, if you learn about driving, if you sit in a classroom and they teach you about driving, so they will teach you how you put in the start the ignition and then the engine will turn on. You put the car into first gear, but remember to press the clutch first, and then you slowly leave the clutch and the car will start moving. You raise the accelerator and so on. You change gears and then you have a steering wheel which will, suppose you have all this knowledge about how a car is driven before you even enter into a car, and then you are told now you know everything about driving, so here's your car, please drive it. I think it will be impossible if you try and do it in that way. Normally people don't know anything about driving, but when they join driving school, they directly start driving. A coach helps them in the driving and they start driving. And as they drive and become a driver and improve in their skill of driving, later they will know everything about driving, and if someone asks them about driving, they can tell you everything about driving. But if you learn about driving before you drive, and then if you try to drive, I think from the start you will hesitate and you'll be so confused because of all this knowledge that you have about the rules of driving a car. Now, talking about spoken English, you already have been taught about English, so you know you have all this knowledge about English, and then when you try to speak, you hesitate and you just don't build up the courage or confidence to speak, because you know so much about the language and you know that there's a lot of theory about the language. This becomes a hindrance and an obstacle when you try to learn how to speak. So for learning spoken English, you should not learn about English. You just should not have any knowledge about English. You should just start learning English the way you would start learning how to drive a car. So now the new way, the new method by which we are trying to spread a message in India especially, that stop studying grammar rules and stop learning about English by reading and writing and attending classes. Because the more you learn about English and attend classes and learn grammar, the more difficult it will become, or rather impossible for you to really speak English in a natural way. So we should not learn about English, but we should learn to speak English. And the way to learn to speak in English is by starting. You just have to start talking. When you start talking in English, you will find that every day your English will improve. So the key to learning English and a new language is you have to listen to it to know how it sounds, and then you just have to repeat, imitate or copy what you're listening, and in this way you will learn how to speak in English. Thank you very much. This is Glenn Paul from Glenn Paul's Spoken English Club, where we train to speak in English by listening and speaking, not by studying, analyzing the language. I'll talk some more in the next videos about this new way of how you can really speak English easily and automatically in a very short time if you follow this new method. Thank you. See you again.